Big Sun, fast cars, winners and losers. Yeah, it's the pivot at the Miami Grand Prix. Shout out to McLaren and Jack Daniels for this opportunities. And we got the whole weekend tapped in for you. We got drivers and we got a little show for you. Are you testing all of the tires? And these are the front ones and these are the back ones. Correct. I know nothing about this stuff. Real G's, that's how real G's stand. Just go that, yep. No, go that way. No, you're just making turns. It's just turns. Yep, left turn, left turn. Okay, sounds good. All right, perfect. You know, this is just the start to my F1 career now. So we got Miami, Austin, Vegas, little Jack Daniels. Oh, this is hard. Check it out, guys. We already saw everything over inside the stadium at the track, but now we're at the Jack Daniels activation that's trackside. Jack Daniels has been partnering with McLaren Formula One, and they're now entering their third year. But it's also their first year partnering with the pivot. I mean, is that Jack Daniels? My dog was 5'2". Shoot, at least he was a real person. Well, guys, that's about all we can show y'all from the track. We're about to head to the team hotel to sit with McLaren Formula One driver Lando Norris. He got his maiden win here last year, and my dog's been on a tear ever since.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach guy pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach guy pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Well, fellas, the pivot done hit the big time. I see y'all got y'all Jack Daniels McLaren shirts on. Your boy sweated his out on the track today, you know what I'm saying? I was moving around, a little moving and shaking. I learned some things, but bro, I think it's so cool to be partnering with Jack Daniels and McLaren. You got to think about this, man. Jack Daniels is the biggest whiskey in the entire world. 159 countries across the globe tap into Jack Daniels every day. And now Jack Daniels and McLaren going into their third year of sponsorship, I think it's cool what they're doing, and I'm glad that now our pivot audience gets to tap in as well.
Bro, I watched the Miami Grand Prix last year. I watched McLaren win that thing last year. I watched our man Lando do his thing, but also Jack Daniels. We went to Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Yep.
We went up there and picked our own barrel out. We had to pick our barrel, and they sent us a bunch of bottles. I don't know how y'all's work, but I did capitalize on mine. But McLaren and Jack Daniels, Lynchburg is amazing, and McLaren is a name in its own. Y'all know what they do. You know how they win. You know the amazing drivers they have. And I am excited now to see this Miami Grand Prix right now. Miami jumped in to the F1, and I think we're doing a beautiful job down here.
Hey, RC, how many countries you say Jack was in?
159.
Man, that's crazy. Listen, Jack Daniels, much like McLaren, they go everywhere. They all over the place. But what I like the most is when they stop here in Miami, the Jack's Garage, that's where the real party at. And when we stop over there, I'm gonna bring a bottle of my Pivot Special Single Barrel that we got from Lynchburg. I'll bring one. Y'all can sip with me. You know what I'm saying? But the Miami Jack's Garage, that's the place to be, man. Everybody just come chill, fans of the sport. Whether you just love Miami, the city, it's gonna be vibrant, it's gonna be a vibe. You might just run into us over there.
Hey, man, Jack Daniels wasn't but 5'2", but he was a giant in the whiskey business. And so is Bruce McLaren. And you think about the way they started their companies, it was about craftsmanship that led to perfection. And man, look who it is. Lando Norris walking in. He's looking for perfection on the track this weekend.
There he goes. What's up, brother?
How you doing, man? Good to meet you, man. Yes, sir, man. Pleasure, bro.
So, dude, how you doing?
Have a seat, my man.
Oh, look at this.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
So we had it all set up for you. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
We're back in the place of your big win last year.
We are,
You know,
indeed.
so we had to make sure the place was laid out for you. You know what I mean? Channing, huh?
I didn't see a red carpet for me. You know?
Yes, sir. Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, I'm Ryan
Nice
Clark.
to meet you guys.
Welcome to the Pivot, Lando
Thanks for
Norris.
having me.
This is the Pivot fam. Thank you for moving and pivoting with us. Bro, I think it's amazing, right? How quickly things can change.
Yes.
You know, you're in the game 6 years, working your butt off, continuing to improve, and then at the Miami Grand Prix last year, you get that first big win.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you to sort of finally get that monkey off of your back and show that you were good enough to compete with the best in the world?
It was good. I mean, especially here in Miami, it was a perfect place to do it, you know? So it felt like a relief because, you know, it was, like you said, 6 years in. Every other series you do until that point, you kind of always have a much better chance of winning. because it's in much more equal machinery. All the cars are pretty much the same. And I managed to win in every category that I did. F1, you kind of get there, it's the one you want to win the most, but it's the one where you got to almost have the least expectation. It can take a long time. Like for me, it took 6 years. For others, it took even more. For some, it takes a lot less. But I'm a guy who has to kind of see to believe. So, and that's even for my own stuff. So, for me, I needed to see myself winning to really believe. Okay, now I can compete against the big dogs.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible feeling because you never know you can imagine what it's like. You see, guys you grew up with winning, and you're like, oh, it's top step and all that. But until you're there, until you kind of feel it yourself, it's memorable. It's something that I'll remember forever. Crossing the line, the checkered flag, the team on the pit wall, standing on the top step. Like it's stuff I can still picture so perfectly. But it was relief. It was relief and just a lot of excitement because I've been on the journey with McLaren. It's not like I changed different teams. I've been with the same guys, the same girls, 6 years ups and downs, and then to finally do it was like we did it together.
Man, I love that.
What's that path, though? You say 6 years being in the car, but there had to be before that, just you wanting to be a F1, sit on that top step, be that dude. What's the path of that for kids listening? Like, how was that track made?
I mean, it's a long track. It's not an easy one, and it's a long one. I started racing in go-karts when I was like 7, 8 years old. Nowadays, that's quite late. Like to start at 8 years old, that's like pushing it to be on the late side. But it's not impossible to kind of enter it after that. But if you want to get to F1, it's almost the hardest sport to get into that top level because there's 20 seats, that's it. 20 seats. In other sports, not every sport, but other sports, you have the top level, but you have a lot of different teams at the top level. And, whether it's NFL or football, whatever it is, you can have 15, 20, 30 people at that top level in one team in a sport. And then you've got hundreds of different teams. F1 is just 20 drivers, that's it. So for you to become one of them, you've got to start early, you've got to start young, you've got to start with the right development. But when I started, I just started for fun. Like I didn't know what F1 was. I didn't want to become an F1 driver. I just was like, I love go-karts and I love driving, and that was it. My dad thought he knew what he was doing, but he had absolutely no idea. I did naturally have quite a good just taking to it. I could go out, I could drive pretty well. But then slowly, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you're kind of still all doing it for fun. It's just cool. You're too young to think what your future's going to be. But then you kind of get to 13, 14 years old, and you got to that was the first time I had to make the decision of do I want to try and head in the direction of Formula One and reach that goal, which meant, less time at home, less time at school, traveling a lot more dedication to the cause? Or do I want to be at school and do exams and all that stuff that I don't want to do? Easy decision for me. So that was the pivot point of, okay, I want to commit to, I got you guys. That was the time when I thought, okay, I want to try and get to Formula One. And then you started putting the plan in place. But it's 11 years to get to it. And I did well. I won in all the categories that I did, bar the final one before Formula One. So I kind of earned that right to finally get there. But it's a long path. It's an expensive one. It's probably the most expensive sport to get into. Yeah. Which is a shame because we would love more guys, girls, whoever it is in the world to kind of have that chance and to go and drive a go-kart or a car. But the thing is, it's a go-kart or a car and you can break it and it costs money, So it's a shame, but a lot of time, a lot of dedication, a lot of traveling. When I was, especially in that school time, 10 to 13 years old, that's when you're growing up with those friends in school. For a lot of people, those are friends they have for forever, until they're grown up. For me, all my friends and my friends that I have now, were guys I grew up racing with at the racetrack because I spent more time there than I did at home, So just years of grinding away, chipping away, always looking at that next stepping stone, F3, F2, and then finally getting to Formula One. So just a lot of work, a lot of dedication. But that's the same for any sport, whether it's football.
Lando, speaking of any sport, though, because you're not from here, you're from England. So when you said NFL and football, you actually weren't talking about the same sport, were you?
No.
So when you're here, just in Miami, bro, and when you're talking to the real football players of the world, Lando.
No, I know.
I'm gonna need you to make. I don't know.
Soccer?
We gotta be specific about soccer.
Soccer.
You can't confuse me. I was like, damn. Is
Talking
there
about
another league of football?
Hey, Messi to change things down here.
What team do you follow? Premier League?
In soccer?
Yeah, football.
Okay, now you're confusing me. When I was young, 7 years old, 8 years old, and I started watching football, I watched Man United. Now, I don't have anyone in like NFL, but my old teammate, Danny Ricciardo, loves his NFL. And he's the guy that got me into it. And I actually remember last year, so I've still never been to like an NFL game. I really want to go. But he's a Buffalo Bills fan.
Okay.
So he got me to support Buffalo Bills. But I'm not committed, you know, like if someone wants to take me away and try to persuade me to go elsewhere, I'm still at that point. But I do love it, and I respect the guys a lot.
Jacksonville Jaguars play at Wembley every year, Tottenham and Wembley. So if you want to cheer for a team,
I'll go there.
that's my former team. So you can cheer for them. But you lit up when you was talking about Miami.
Yeah.
And your win here. You know, like what'd you do after your win? Like what'd you get into? Just Miami. Okay, let me ask it a different way.
I got a little spot down the street from the
Really?
down the street from the track if you want.
No,
Okay.
but I'll ask it a different way because F1 continues to grow.
Yeah.
You know, F1 is here in the U.S. now, here in Miami, it's Vegas, Austin as well. You know, lots of traveling.
Yes.
What do you like to? What's Lando like away from the track? Like, what do you do in your downtime, race weekend?
I mean, it's changed a bit. I mean, Miami last year, I had a good party. I had to. My first win in Formula One, like
Yeah.
this is that's me as a kid, that's my dream, you know? That's what I pictured, this is what I dreamt of doing, and I finally reached it. So I had to celebrate it well. And I celebrated with my team, and we had a great time, and so forth. But I'm quite the opposite of my life within racing. You know, it's the thrill, it's the excitement, it's people, it's fast, it's chaos. I love the complete contrast. So I love golf. Me and my friends, we go play some golf out in the countryside somewhere where there's no people. Somewhere I can just get away and it's quiet. Like for me, I love the peace and quiet away from the track. But I also love to share what I do with my friends. You know, like I said, some of them were drivers I grew up with, but they're also guys who support me and are there to kind of be there for me, give their advice, give their opinion, cheer me up when I'm feeling down, because as much as I've had great weekends, I've also had terrible ones. And I love to share that experience with them, whether that's bringing them to the race here or whatever it is in the world, or flying them around to whatever country I'm in, and we go play some golf. We get out and have a few days to chill, or just go out to some restaurants, whatever it is. I love that too, you know. So for me, it's peace and quiet and family and friends. Like that's my go-to. So the more I can get away from almost the life of Formula One, the more relaxed I can be.
Yeah, I was at the track today, you know. I had on my Jack Daniels, McLaren polo, you know. I was walking around. I knew absolutely nothing, right? So I'm asking people about, okay, are you checking the gauges on the tire? What are these blankets on the tire? I'm standing in front of the McLaren little house and what they call it, the paddock. Like, I'm just having a great time. I've also realized, too, they're the most beautiful people in the world at F1. Like, you go to football games, not everybody's attractive. You go to F1, everybody's good looking. You walk in, you're good looking. I was like, hell, this is the prettiest sport in the freaking world. But, you know, I'm looking at, you know, at your shirt, and you said you've been with McLaren for 6 years, right? There's this thing that happens in football and basketball where these guys grow with these teams, and you become a star on the team that picked you or the team that drafted you. You know, Andrea Stella comes over and you start to make all of these improvements in McLaren, and then you work your way to get your big win. What has it been like to stick with the company, grow with the company, and finally start to see the success you guys are seeing as a team?
Yeah. I mean, the final part, beautiful. It's made me very proud to kind of see where we are now as a team and to finally get to that place that we worked very hard to get to. And I definitely don't think we take it for granted, like the position we are now, because my last, 4.5 years have not been anything like this year or the end of last season, you know. They've been sometimes at the very back and kind of lost, where the hell are we? How the hell do we gain 1.5 seconds a lap to these guys. And it's not just that the car's quicker, but their pit stops are better. They got a better organization. They get more funding. They got more partners. You know, like I'm covered in partners now, but a few years ago it was nothing.
Yeah.
You know, McLaren went through some very tough times. You know, during COVID and all of these things, it got to quite a low. You know, so for me to kind of stick to that, and the thing is, I did reasonably well quite early on in my career of Formula One, so I did have the opportunities to maybe go elsewhere and to leave McLaren and have a quicker opportunity of winning races or a championship, whatever it was. But I always felt somewhat like obliged to try and live it out with McLaren and to give them what they gave to me, which is that opportunity in Formula One, which has made everything so much sweeter. Like to win that first race with them, to know like I stuck with them through the hard times, we fought all the way through it. Andrea came in, things got better and better. We won that, and then we went on to win the Constructors in the same year. This was just like, it's the best feeling knowing you went through a lot of hard times and doubts, and then you kind of achieved what you dreamed of achieving with them. And for me, like it's a cooler story than just going to a team that you know can win, and then just, I mean, sometimes I think that would be lovely, and I wish that was the case. But for me, yeah, to live through that, go through that kind of roller coaster, create a story with them, makes everything worth it. So it's been cool, and I'm excited to continue that story and try and repeat it for many more years.
Yeah, and Lando, RC talked about the beautiful people, the beautiful cars here, and the beautiful city here. You talked about the struggles, right?
Yeah.
Earlier you were talking about driving for fun. We don't see like the grind part of it. Like we don't see your off-season training. You know, that ain't just for fun. Like you're here to win, right? Could you take us through like your off-season and what is like the most difficult part of training and getting ready for big races like this?
Yeah, I think the thing that's most tricky for us is the hardest sport to access and just do, you know. It's not like I can go into the garden and have a throw about or a kick about. It's not like I can pick up a tennis racket and go and hit some balls. Golf, I can't just pick up my club and go and hit some balls. Like, it costs a lot of money, and it's a very difficult thing to go to the racetrack, to bring all the stuff you need, the race car, you know, it costs just a crazy amount of money. So it's something where we also have the least opportunity to practice what we do comparing to any other sport. And that's also what makes it so difficult, you know, when we have to go out and perform, our chance to kind of learn how to perform in the moments are the moments themselves. It's not like you can practice in the whole off season and go, okay, now I'm ready for all of this. You kind of have to think about it you try to visualize it, you try it on the simulator a little bit, but you never know these things and you never know how much you're kind of ready for until that time arrives and you have to put it into practice. But I think what also people don't realize, like I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not a football player, but you have to be, I don't think people realize the fitness needed to not just drive, because I think a lot of people can just simply go and drive a Formula One car, but to drive it with the precision, with the accuracy, on the level that you need to be at a top level. And then when you go to these hot countries, you know, where it's 30 degrees, or like this weekend it's going to be pretty warm, it gets very humid. And one mistake, and you know, when you're talking about a mistake, you're talking about a couple centimeters here or there, especially if it's on a street circuit, kind of like here or Singapore or Monaco. You misjudge something by the smallest margin because you blink, or you're sweating too much, or your concentration's going, you're out, game over. Then you also feel like you let a lot of people down because you have a lot of people who are building the car and putting it all together, you know. So the main thing is the fitness, is your kind of your heat training. You know, it's nice and comfy in the car. The seats are molded to me, and you fall asleep sometimes. But the loads, the temperature inside the car, the level of concentration you need through the whole race, your neck strength. You know, for us, we're quite isolated with where we need to be strong. Bit of core, leg strength, and precision of leg strength, not just outright muscle mass, but precision of things, and the neck. The neck's the only thing that's not supported. Everything else is, you know, very well. My feet are supported by the pedals. Everything is molded to my feet. My knees, my legs can't move because they're in like a tunnel. My seat, you know, I'm harnessed in, so basically my whole body can't move, apart from my head. The head's the only thing that can just go left to right, forward and back.
And what's the oxygen max for? I saw you training in an oxygen mask.
Yeah, no, that's just a VO2 max.
Okay.
So that's again mixing that with how much you're sweating. You know, when you're working at the top level for the nutrition, for your hydration. My team, my trainer needs to know how much weight and how much liquid I'm going to be losing in sweat for every race, depending on how the temperature is going to be. So he needs to change how much food I eat the day before, the week prior, or leading up to the race. How much I need to be drinking, how much sodium and nutrients I need to be taking on. Because then we also have to look after our weight. You know, it's not like we can just turn up a kilo heavier or a kilo lighter. We have to be quite a consistent.
So you saying I can't just go play like Gran Turismo and actually drive the car? Because I saw the movie, and based on the movie, if I'm really good at the game, I should be able to do F1. That is not true.
I wouldn't say no. You never know. You might have it.
Hell no.
Do y'all like those racing movies? Because Will Ferrell movie is all I know about racing. What's they called?
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights or
Ricky
F1.
Boogie.
Do y'all like
Ricky Boogie.
Shake and bake?
Like,
do real racers? Do y'all enjoy those movies?
We do. Probably differently to most. You know, I think there's probably a lot of people go, damn, that's how race cars drivers are. Probably couldn't be more opposite of that, you know.
Yeah.
You don't like downshift to go quicker in the straight. You don't kind of wait half throttle and then go full throttle. But I mean, we love those movies. They're cool movies.
I wonder, as you said something about like all the people behind you. So just listening to you talk, you have a trainer.
Yeah.
You have a nutritionist.
Yeah.
You have a pit crew.
Yeah.
You have mechanics.
Yeah.
You have all those people.
Yeah.
And then you're 25 years old. You have, how many people is that, just an estimate? Is it 50, 70? And then you have sponsors, there's hundreds of people behind you.
Well, I mean, the team is over 1,000, and then I'll have my group who are there for me, which is 15 people probably.
So 1,000 people, 15 around you.
Yeah.
And then at 25, you got to jump in that car. Go get him, Lando. Let's go. Is it? I don't want to say pressure, because pressure is a privilege, is a saying that a lot of athletes say. But to have that much behind you, do you not have to think about that and just think about hitting turn 3 a certain way, hitting turn 5 another way?
In the perfect world, that's all you think about. But I think, for me, it's always been important. I race also with them. You know, I race for them, I race with them. I want to do them proud. I don't not care about what I do and how I do and, their reaction to everything. They put a lot of effort in it for me to try and help me. I feel like I want to reward them and give them the same with the whole team. 1,000 people working every single day, every night to build the car, put it together, make it quicker. I feel like I owe something to them to go out and try and give them a nice trophy or some prize money, whatever it is, So I race for them. So you do feel the pressure because you're thinking, damn, if I get this one more place, we're going to be on the podium. That means they get another trophy back at the factory. If you make a mistake, you're like, damn, I've now lost that opportunity. I feel it. But I guess you have to not let it affect you in a bad way. You got to somehow use that into motivating you, giving you more energy, going out and then doing better, rather than letting it make you make more mistakes or think of it in a bad way. So I realize it's a lot of people, especially when you've got partners, people who are, they pay the team, all of those things. You don't want to let them down. You don't want to make them unhappy. So I noticed it, but I think part of what makes a good athlete good is that they're able to kind of compartmentalize the whole aspect of it, put it to the side, and then when you have to go out and do your job, you go out and do your job.
Jack Daniels has a mantra that's every day we make it the best we can.
Yeah.
And that speaks to perfection. That speaks to whenever I am attempting to do this thing I'm passionate about, attempting to do this thing that's become my purpose, I'm seeking perfection. But we won't always get that.
No.
You talked about the long journey to reaching some of your immediate goals. When you look to the future, what are some of the things and goals you want to accomplish going forward?
Big question, because I'm also a guy who, my short-term goals are, world champion. That's been my dream as a kid. That's all I've worked towards for the last, 16 years of my life, is becoming world champion. I work my butt off until I achieve that. but I also know I've got a life, and I want to leave F1 at some point and go try something else, go drive in other things, try different sports, just go and experience life, you know. So, I mean, I don't know, it feels weird because I'm 25, and I think at times I do think of like, what do I want to do post Formula One? Because yeah, life's short, and there's plenty of other things I want to go and try and experience and share with people and all of those things. But I don't know, I try to not think about it. I really try and think about the here, the now, my goal, Formula One, World Championship, and trying to achieve that.
Yeah, you're a good-looking dude. You'll have somebody to go and explore with if you want somebody to explore with. But compared to like, this was more of a European sport. I started going when Miami started.
Yeah.
And then Spa, Belgium.
Yep.
Monaco, like the historic ones compared to the U.S. city. How much different is F1 in the U.S.? And what's your favorite track? Was it Austin, Vegas, or Miami?
My favorite is probably Austin, and the weekend of Austin is great. Like, it's just cool, good vibes. Miami's also great, but I would still say it's a little bit more chill than Austin. Austin, you feel like the most relaxed, good food, fun people, and it's just a great atmosphere. The circuit's fun, one of the most fun circuits to drive. But I mean, Netflix helped massively with all of that stuff. You know, like the American races were big and kind of have always been pretty good. But it's still a European market and kind of base. But that's heavily shifted over the last few years. And the difference from, you know, going to Austin, you know, 7 years ago before Netflix to now is crazy. Like, these are easily the biggest 3 races of the year are kind of Miami, Austin, and Vegas. And then you kind of got the good ones. You got the Spa, the Monaco, Silverstone, those kind of places. So it's changed a lot, but mainly just the fans. You know, a lot more fans. Obviously for us, a lot more partners. A lot of our partners are America-based, so we get to go and do some cool things out here quite often. But just a lot more chaotic fans, which is only a good thing because they make the sport go around.
I like that smile. I know what that smile means for a 25-year-old.
Now, and Vegas was amazing, the night race. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
We always ask our guests what's their biggest pivot. That's that one moment you can look back on and say, without this happening or this happening for me, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Damn, deep question.
Yeah.
I think because when I was growing up, I was very naturally gifted with driving. Like I didn't have to try that hard, and I could do well. And that kind of comes with age also and experience. But there was a point when that's not enough, and I can't, like, you know, you can't just rely on just the fact I could go out and easily drive and be quick. Especially when it gets to a point where, you know, you're paying for Formula 3, Formula 2, it costs a crazy amount of money. Like you do on these opportunities, you cannot waste these opportunities. And when you're knocking on the door of trying to get to Formula One, there's that point of it's not just fun anymore. It's also you got to work for it. Yeah. And I think that was probably like it's quite late, 2017, 2018, when like my manager probably had some conversations with me. And also as a group, you know, my dad's also always been a very good figure of working hard to get something back and achieve success. But it sounds like an easy one and an obvious one. Maybe it is for a lot of people, but that kind of moment, because I really could rely on so much of my just natural talent. I didn't have to work for it that much in my early age, which was a great thing, but also kind of bit me at some point when you start to fight against the top guys, the top racers, the best in the world. They're guys who probably just have as much talent as you, or almost as much, but guys who maybe didn't start with all of it and they've had to work at it a lot more. They're a lot more prepared for that next step, and I at that point was not, you know, because I could just go out and drive and have fun, and I was good at that. So I think the moment of realizing the success only comes from like sacrifice, dedication, hard work behind the scenes, the bits that people don't see, basically. Right. And that moment when you kind of, that clicks in your head and you decide you want to go out and train a bit more, you want to go out and run, you want to go to the gym, you want to go and try different things and speak to more people and understand things. I think like that's for me was probably the most important time when I thought, okay, now I got to work for it. Then that sets you up to realizing what you got to do in order to get to the end goal and be one of the best athletes in the world.
Right.
Yeah, you know, we all have these people that we model certain things after. Like when I was growing up, I thought I was Randall Cunningham until I realized I couldn't throw. Right? He was a quarterback. We had the same initials. I was like, that's who I want to be. But that's who made me want to play football. You kind of did it a different way. Like you love Valentino Rossi, who was in motorbikes,
MotoGP,
right?
Yeah.
So it's different than F1, but you had that sort of person with excellence in doing something to see. But you also had your father, and you kind of mentioned that early, and the way that he would show up for you and those different things. Explain to me a little bit about what having an idol like Rossi meant to you, but then having a father who instilled the things within your home to make you understand what work looked like.
I think the Rossi one, like having that idol, he was the one who, you know, would give you those dreams of being on the top step, having the fans around you, doing it in style, being your own person. You know, Rossi was like a very much out there guy, bright colors, great character, a very good role model, a very good guy. I think for me to look up to and think like, damn, I want to be like that guy one day, because everyone loved him. Everyone loved Valentino. I think they still do, and I still love Valentino. And it feels weird, like now I get to talk to him and we talk every now and then and do some cool stuff together. So I have that. So he creates the vision. He creates like the pictures of this is what I want to do. And I mean, I did start on motorbikes before I went on to go-karts. I started on 2 wheels. So I loved it. But then when I found 4 wheels, I found more love for that. And then I kind of pursued it. But my dad was the guy who, you know, I would come home when I was 3, 4 years old. He'd be playing Gran Turismo. You know, some of the greats do start on Gran Turismo. And then I would want to beat my dad. And then I'd race on the controller, and then eventually it went to like the steering wheel and the pedals and stuff. And I started that quite young. But he was the guy who and my mum as well, for sure, who made me, at an early age, just, you know, work for things, you know. If I wanted to go and drive and play on Gran Turismo, because that's what I loved, I had to do the chores in the house, I had to go and mow the lawn, I had to go and do these other things. So, you know, like the discipline of things already, I think, was ingrained in me from quite an early age. But my parents brought me up in a very good way. And I'm very thankful for them, not only for supporting me, like in the whole journey, and for me being lucky enough that they could support me, letting me grow up in a correct way, you know, in a good way with, I think, good manners and good humility and all of those things, and having a lot of respect for the people that I work with and that I kind of always looked up to, you know. So I think that's a very important thing. That's probably one of the things that means the most to me is growing up like that and being a good kid, rather than just someone who's doing free-for-all and rude but fast. And I would always almost take it the other way around.
If having goals outside of this, when will you know you've done enough in this sport?
I mean, yeah, at 25 years old, it's a big question. But it is one I ask myself every now and then, because I also do like want a family when I grow up, and I want to see my kids get into racing or soccer or football or whatever it is. I also see that life, you know. And for me, I also don't know if I want to, you know, I don't know if I want to be remembered in 100 years' time, or do I just want to do it kind of for my own personal achievement? Like, you know, I went out and I won in Formula One, and I can tell that story to my kids, and then they can pass that down, and they can pass their stories down. But you know, I don't feel like I'm here because I want to be remembered by everyone, or I want to be known as the best in the world. I'm here to just enjoy my life and enjoy it, share it, and then pass it down. So I feel like I have a different outlook on it comparing to some. Some definitely have that opposite, like I want to be remembered forever and all. I kind of have no interest in that. I want to enjoy my moment and then share my moments with others and kind of go from there.
Well, this has been your moment, and it's been so good to see you take it from last year's Miami Grand Prix and continue that success, man. Best of luck to you, to all your team at McLaren, man. And we just appreciate you giving us some time on what's an extremely important weekend for you.
I appreciate it, guys. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
bro.
for having me, man.
Lando, we want you to enjoy your moment, but can you share a little advice for Ryan? He's on the hot lap tomorrow.
Oh,
He's never done it.
I've been working. I'm gonna do some neck
Give him some nuggets, little nuggets. What
You
can
know,
you share?
that's like the one thing that catches most people out, and even for me, the first time I drove in F1 was not the speed, was not the cornering, was the braking.
Okay.
So you know you have to be able to brace against something because your neck will want to go forward. Like in a road car, it's not too bad, but I mean, if you're going out in a McLaren, which I think I'm sure you will be. Like I want to like your test. My challenge to you would be, I want to see a video of you going into the first braking zone.
Okay.
And I don't want to see your head go forward.
Right, so the whole time, I gotta hold my, do I have to hold my neck like this though? Cause ain't no way you drive like this, Lando. Lando, you don't drive with your head like this, Lando. So, so if I'm in my
but I know when I'm gonna brake. So the moment I press the brake, I know how I need to brace up and do all of those things.
Okay, I'm just gonna practice in my room. I'm gonna sleep like this.
We did the NASCAR, and that's just a circle.
Well,
And
it's the same. Like my worst passenger ever was Jimmy Butler.
Was he really? He was here, right?
Yeah. No, he did it in Canada.
Okay.
But I mean, like, you know, big guy, walks around like he's, you know, coolest guy in the world. Worst passenger I've ever had in my life. Shocking.
He wasn't screaming.
He was screaming. No, he was screaming. You should watch the video. He's got this shit. Yeah. I love Jimmy.
And he's like one of the toughest basketball players in the world. See, basketball players soft, man.
His weakness is
So
the
I
car.
can't scream.
No, you don't scream. Don't scream and no neck movement.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, man. We'll talk your head off, so we appreciate you, man.
No,
Pleasure
thanks
meeting
for the
you.
time, guys.
Hey, thank you
All the
guys
best.
so much,
Thank
man.
you.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
y'all.
y'all, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, Lando chill, bro. He got a little stuff to him.
Oh, you gotta have that thing to you to be able to do what he does.
Yeah, he got a little stuff to him. I'm grateful for the conversation. But you know, man, it's some stuff that went on this week, and we just got to talk about it a little bit. I mean, first, we got to get into, like, the fallout from Shedeur Sanders going into this draft, thinking he's a first-round draft pick, ends up being a fifth-round draft pick of the Cleveland Browns, who drafted Dylan Gabriel from Oregon in the fourth round. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. Prank calls, all of these pieces. When you look at the entire saga, Channing, what are some of the things that stands out from what had to be one of the longest weeks in the Sanders household?
Man, that was wild. Knowing Prime, knowing Shedeur, being around that family. I know that was tough on them because that was days of conversation, days of honestly upset. And I even said it when we were in Green Bay, like, you're still getting drafted. You're still going to be on the NFL roster. Like, you're going to have your chance. And camp is where you earn your badge. And that's where in the Cleveland facility, they have 5 quarterbacks. Shedeur now has a competition, and that's how it's supposed to be. The prank call thing got to me. I don't believe in whooping a 21-year-old man. He need to get his ass whooped. You gonna go on your daddy iPad and steal the man's phone? Listen, now, if you gonna be immature, act 13, I could beat you like you're 13. Yeah. So that was totally ridiculous. I think Shedeur, people tried to make it about race. People tried to make it about so many things. I just think if Shedeur had Cam Ward's talent, he would have been the first pick. I think people are questioning Shedeur's, and as we hear about it, I think people are questioning Shedeur's talent now and when he dropped. That's really what I am eager to know when he steps into the NFL, is he is talented as a first-round pick, and we're going to see it. He got drafted after Dylan Gabriel. Let's see if Dylan beats him out, because the Browns felt as if Dylan was better than him. Now the proof is in the pudding, and that's what I want to see, and we're going to revisit this, I know, amongst us ourselves once we see how Shedeur deals with the NFL. But Ulbricht's son needs to get a pow-pow. If he needs me to come to his house and give it to him, I'll give it to him. But Jax needs him a pow-pow about that BS he did on draft day.
Yeah, now I'll be quick. I mean, you know what? I agree with you on that, Channing. I think Jack was certainly out of pocket, completely out of line. Just a frat boy. You know what I'm saying? Just messing around. And we've done that. We've messed around. Now, is magnified. And especially on this night, having that, or being that Shador had to wait as long as he waited. And that got more attention than the tight end from Penn State, because he also pranked some other people. So, I think the NFL was right by fining Falcons as well as Jeff Ulbrich. So, yeah, they got their punishment, and it was rightfully done. As far as Shador, and the Sanders family, we talk about collusion. They brought up race. They talk about the arrogance and his confidence. It's okay to be confident, but, if Shador was as elite as, people had spoken him up to be, he'd have gone first round. To slide fifth round was crazy to me. I'm not sure how it got to that point. The good thing is this. I do trust in God's timing, and Deion's always talking about faith. I'm pretty sure he's had an opportunity to talk to Shador, and Shador's always been, again, steady, very poised. Nobody's talking about his poise. Nobody's talking about his character and how he didn't go crazy, jumping out there, complaining. The kid was still all smiles for the duration of the draft. I think those should be headlines. He's an NFL quarterback now. The same guy who's going to lead a locker room. He's going to be poised. He's going to know how to react to pressure situations like this recent thing we saw during the draft. And you should give him credit for that, right? He has an opportunity to go into Cleveland and compete for a job. The better he plays, the quicker he can get back to a bigger deal. If he plays well, gets the starting job, he can be able to get him a $100 million, $150 million contract in 3 years. So, God does things for whatever reason they happen for. And again, I firmly believe that God's timing is the best. This is what he's dealt with. He got to go make the best of it.
It's what the league's about. Go get your job. Undrafted free agent and Ryan Clark, he went and got him a job.
Yeah.
Shador got to go get him a damn job right now.
Yeah, I think, though, and this is just my opinion personally, the Sanders family won the weekend in what felt like a loss. I got to talk to Deion. I talked to Shiloh. I haven't talked to Shador. But Shador Sanders' composure, poise, grace, elegance, gratitude, behavior throughout this entire week said professional. Mm-hmm. It said maturity, right? It said that he understood that it was bigger than him. I always said that people would draft based on someone's ability to help them to win because their job counted on that. That changed this weekend. It didn't change with the pick of Cam Ward. It didn't change with the pick of Jackson Dart. It didn't really change with the pick of Tyler Shuck. I know enough football to know that Dylan Gabriel is not a better quarterback than Shador Sanders. I know enough to know that he's not more talented than Shador Sanders. But for the other quarterbacks, including Jalen Milroe, I can say, okay, maybe they saw something in him. And so once it gets to that point, now you know it's bigger. Once it gets to that point, you know it's something that's above just watching the game film. And so you think about that, it was Deion Sanders signed his contract with Colorado early because he wanted coaches who might have been on the hot seat, who were thinking about drafting Shador, who thought that maybe if he didn't excel earlier, maybe if I don't win, they'll go get Deion Sanders. Deion said, let me take that out of the equation.
Right. Yeah.
Now, there's also a train of thought that Deion may have overshot Shador's talent.
Yeah.
That could be a piece of it. Because if you're Patrick Mahomes, if you're Josh Allen, if you're Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, your father could really act any kind of way he want to act because of what they've seen on film. Maybe Shador didn't have that top-level talent, even though we saw top-tier play. And so now, Shador Sanders walks into the building, and Cleveland, to me, has made it worse on themselves. You made it worse on yourself because you waited so long. You made it worse on yourself because you drafted Dylan Gabriel. Now the questions for Shador Sanders are going to be different. What happens when the entire media crew is in front of the 5th-round picks locker next weekend for rookie minicamp? Because that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Shador Sanders jumps right in, and not only, this is how smart he is, not only does the first thing he do is go do community service, he goes to work out. Shador Sanders understands it. Now, whether or not he's going to be this top-tier talent that takes over the league based off of what God gifted him with, I don't know. But he has all of the other stuff. And so I thought the way that he handled this weekend, all the way down to speak into the old Brick family about pranking him in what was probably the worst weekend of his life and moving forward through that with such grace. It says a lot about him, it says a lot about the woman and man who raised him and who that family is. And so to me, I thought it was an opportunity for the Sanders family to stand out. But like, that starts with your father, and some fathers won't run on the court now. And they think, what you about to do, put belt to tail? You wanna whip John Haliburton too?
What's his name? Jax Olbrick? He needs a good old-fashioned ass whooping, and John Haliburton need a good old-fashioned ass whooping. Bro,
He got suspended now though, Chan. He's suspended.
they consequences and repercussions. What was that old ass man gonna do staring at Giannis Antetokounmpo? Belt to ass is what needs to be done. Come on, man. This world is getting out of hand with these people feeling crazy about running up and doing crazy stuff to other human beings. Belt to ass needs to be had. People been telling me that kids don't need to be spanked no more. John Haliburton didn't get spanked enough. Jackson Olbrick didn't get spanked enough. You got to put belt to ass nowadays. Yes, that's why I took my belt off. What is this? Because it was an expensive ass belt. It's Ferragamo.
It shocked me when I saw the buckle.
They gave me 2 free bottles of cologne when I bought this belt. But belt to ass need to happen in this world nowadays. I don't understand where we're going. Where that man thinks he could run out and yell at Giannis after losing the playoff series with all my emotions and think that's okay. And then when Giannis ran up, put that forehead on forehead, now he looking all scared. You better be happy Giannis didn't slap the damn dog shit out of you. That's what you should be happy about.
It's hard to follow that up, Chan.
That was actually very good.
That was perfect. And
Man,
I totally.
belt to ass happening no more, man.
Look, I totally agree with you on everything you said. Ryan, I think you said it on Get Up a couple days ago. The NBA did right. You had to lay down the punishment. You know, you had to, stop anyone else that might want to attempt to run out there on the court. You can't do that. You purchased a ticket to spectate. Sit your ass in the bleachers and watch the game. Under any circumstances, you are not allowed on the court, and certainly with those sort of actions. So, he's lucky Giannis didn't go crazy. And Giannis is respectful. He's one of the faces of the NBA. I doubt he would do anything like that. But can you imagine the emotions, the restraint, in order to not go through what he could have gone through? So, yeah, man, I think the NBA, they need to probably also look at fining the Pacers just to kind of make it, another statement. So,
well, y'all ever on the field somebody stormed it? Because I've never had a field storm with me on it because I would have slapped the hell
when
out of somebody.
They did that with Debo in Cleveland, and he suplexed the dude, belly to back. He ran up on him and suplexed him. When I was on Get Up, it was the morning after that. And I said that John Haliburton should be suspended or should be expelled from going to basketball games the rest of his life.
Right.
He should not get to sit courtside. And I get the sacrifice that he had to make to get Tyrese Haliburton there. I understand what he's sown into his child and how happy he was for your kid, who they just said last week was the most overrated player in the league, to finish that game the way he did. And Haliburton jumped on top of the scorer's desk, and he should have did all that because he plays. You don't play. You ain't no star. I don't care how many jobs you worked to get him to AAU practice and to get him to tournaments, you don't get to go on that court. That is earned. Now, if you want to celebrate with your kid, man, and hug him and cry with him and all of those things, absolutely. But when you decide to walk into what is sacred ground for those hoopers, the things Giannis Antetokounmpo had to go through in Greece, or the things he had to go through growing up, the way that he's worked since he's come into that league to be a multiple MVP, to be a finals MVP, that's his space. You are trespassing. And I feel, personally, if you trespass, I should get to whip your tail all the way back to your seat. Now, here's the thing. Giannis, thank God, is a better man than me, right? Isaiah Stewart from Detroit ain't. That boy that dang near tried to kill himself to get to LeBron.
Yeah.
Draymond Green isn't. But now, because the NBA isn't protecting these players, you're putting them in a position where they can make a decision that not only affects their entire career, but it affects the entire league because you didn't do the right thing in protecting them. And so that's why on the back end, and the other piece of it is this, John Haliburton, if you're sorry, don't go on podcasts talking about what happened, talking about what you did, talking about what was said to you, because you're supposed to be apologetic. Right? Being apologetic is followed by actions that make me think you in some way understand the consequences of your actions and the problems that you cause. Go and talk about it doesn't say that to me. That says you want to be the same star that ran out there, which is why you should have got your ass whipped. And so my thing is, he should never get to go to a game to see his son play again, because if they don't punish him, what's to stop the next real turd that decides he's close enough to the court to run out there, and now you have the malice in the palace again, and it's a black eye for the league, and all of those players who would be involved in that are forever tarnished, and their reputation is taken a step back because of what some idiot did on the side of the court. I hope he never gets to watch a game again, and I don't care what people say about it.
I give you an answer. I'm up to being hired by NBA teams, and I bring my belt.
Is that
and
the
I'll
same
sit
belt?
front row, and I'll whoop some ass if they run out on that court.
Is that the same belt you're gonna bring for the gorilla?
Bro, are y'all crazy about this gorilla thing?
So I will say this.
100 men
So I will say this, Chan.
and one gorilla.
My problem in looking at it was this. I was picturing every gorilla as King Kong.
They're not
And
that
they're
big.
actually not that. As I've seen more gorillas online, I have realized, though they are big, they are not that big.
That big. What they good, 350?
400.
450.
Hey, like 8-foot wingspan too. No, here's the thing. Some of y'all gonna die.
I'm running up first.
So you
I'm
done.
running up first. Listen, y'all, listen. I done worked this out in my mind because I've had this conversation with people because they know I wrestle alligators and all the stuff, the hogs and all the outdoor stuff I do. I worked this out. When I wrestle alligators, I have my buddy Brian Crum, who we catch alligators together. I grab the head, you throw a towel over his face, and they can't see. You slowly close their mouth. And Brian knows when I jump on the head, he got to jump and get the legs off the ground. If he doesn't get on that back leg, I'm going to die. And we've done it a number of times. So the first person, I got me and Brian Crum. Now I have to get 98 other grown-ass men. James Harrison is one of them. James, I'm calling you. I'm calling Jokic. I'm calling his two brothers. I'm calling the Trent Williams. Jack, I'm gonna get some dogs out there on this gorilla. The gorilla might just fall over and have a heart attack when he sees my crew walking up. It's 100 monsters out there? Y'all are crazy, and y'all aren't invited because on the text thread, y'all was acting like bitches. You know y'all my boys, but on the text thread, y'all was acting like I ain't running up on no gorilla. Well, you're not on my list, and you're not on my list. I'm about to get me 99 monsters. That gorilla might have a heart attack when he sees us walk around the corner.
RC, bitch one. That's me. I'm not going out there.
I'm not fighting.
You have fun because you're not thinking clearly. You're talking about jumping a gorilla and an alligator. You're gonna jump on the gorilla back, throw the towel on his face and do all that duct taping it. That ain't happening.
No, Fred.
That's not happening.
Because I don't have guys like you.
And you can't have the weapon.
When
There's
I
no
run
weapons.
straight up on him and he grabs me, now Brian Crumb's on his neck.
Well-
Now Tremaine McCullum's on his left arm. Jermaine McCullum's on his right arm. I'm bringing dogs out there. James Harrison, I might send him out first. It might be an equal fight. Y'all are crazy. Listen, 100 human beings on one animal, we win.
What we gonna need is some crowded powder to sprinkle on James Crumbs, whatever's the left. You guys are gonna be leftovers.
Listen, man.
Y'all gonna be filleted,
I'ma
man.
say
That
this.
gorilla not
I'ma say
messing
this.
around,
One
bro.
dude is gonna wrap jeans around his arm, and then you jam it in his mouth, choke him, pull out his stomach.
RC, jeans. That means somebody fight naked.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Ass out.
I fight naked.
I'm going to say this. I personally overestimated the gorilla initially, thinking about a one-on-one. A scientist has recently said it truly would only take about 30 to 40 really bad individuals in order to subdue a gorilla.
I'm gonna put together a team, RC.
Channing, what I'm saying is, I now agree with you. But the thing is this.
C-Hamp, Footy, Pot. I got a monster team.
Channing, but the thing is this, bro. The morale of the team is going to get low at some point unless you have the conversation of why we're fighting. One, the gorillas don't do anything to anybody. Gorillas are nice. And secondly, the other piece of it too is this. Who's gonna decide that they're going to be the brave soul that dies first? Like, which person is gonna say, I'm willing to do this and die first? Because I agree now that it can happen.
Yeah.
Who gets to be the sacrificial lamb? Who's the Green Beret? Who's the Navy SEAL?
First.
I'm first. Me and Brian Crum are running up first.
Well, I tell y'all what. I hope Jack Daniels and McLaren watching this, because at the Chan fight, that gorilla is just gonna be us. Maybe they can sponsor us again for next year, the 2. But Freddie T, man, before we go, bro, we gotta pull up one time for Jack Daniels.
You know,
man.
this is my favorite time of the show. Look at this bottle. Let's make it happen. Y'all ready, man?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
Give me a little Jack McLaren.
A little for you.
So special about just give me a little nip. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get in the car tomorrow.
Baby
I gotta
nip
get in the
right
car.
here.
You give me a little. I gotta get in the car tomorrow.
Nah, we do not condone.
Hey, go on,
Just
go on,
want
get
to
a
say
toast.
cheers to Jack and McLaren, man. Appreciate everything, guys.
Cheers.
It's a pretty bottle.
Hey, a big shout out to Jack Daniels and McLaren for having the Pivot fam here this week. Check out everything we do this week. It's going to be all over our socials. Pivot fam, thank you for pivoting with us, and we can't wait to see what our boy Lando does this weekend.
Hold up, limitless, niggas to me can't pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless, niggas to me can't pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up.